In this video, myself and my partner Jacob are going to walk you through every facet of a house wash from setup to pre-inspection walk around, our best practices for washing houses, and the things you need to be on the lookout for on the job so that way you don't mess anything up at the customer's property. But if you're looking to start a pressure washing business and you're not sure what chemicals to use, how to mix them, how to clean every surface on a residential job site, property protection, or how to set up your equipment, be sure to check out the How to Wash course. It'll be the first link in the comment section and the description. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video.
All right, guys, so we are on site. We got the truck right here ready to go. This is the property that we're going to be cleaning today. In today's video, we're going to give you guys a full walkthrough on everything that we do on a house wash from start to finish. So I'm going to flip over the camera. We're going to first do a property inspection because we just showed up, and let's get it going. Jacob, tell us what the first steps are.
We're going to unreel the fill hose, start filling up the tank on the truck with some water. We're not going to use the trailer today because it's not a very big home. It's all vinyl. Should go pretty quick and easy. And then while the tank's filling up, we're going to inspect the home, see if we need to cover any outlets with tape, pick up any trash or anything that's not able to get wet that may get ruined, and then we're going to get started washing. By then the tank should be filled with water enough to be able to get started. Run around the house with chemical, and then come back behind ourselves with the pressure washer and rinse everything down and get it cleaned up. Yeah, these we've had them where they'll wrap towels and rags and put duct tape around them. If they have them like that, we normally just make sure it's okay with the homeowner before we cut them off, because a lot of times whenever you start trying to peel the tape off and stuff, the tape's going to break 100 times on you. You get aggravated, and eventually you just pull out a knife and cut it off anyways.
The next step of our house wash is the pre-inspection walk around, and for this we're going to be using the 28-point inspection form within 𝐃𝐨𝐦𝐢𝐧, which allows us to take pictures and document all pre-existing damage at the property. We can then send those to the customer in the form of a PDF before the work is done, so that way we can't be held liable for any of those pre-existing damages. And if you'd like to use these inspection forms, check out 𝐃𝐨𝐦𝐢𝐧. It'll be the second link in the comment section and description, and you can actually save 50% off your subscription right now through myQuoteIQ.com.
These outlets that have these types of covers, they have a gasket in them most of the time, like that. So they usually seal pretty good. It's good to just walk around and check them either way, just to make sure. We have had in the past where we had a cover that was upside down. So the drain hole was at the top and the water drained down into the outlet and caught the outlet on fire, left a big burn spot on the customer's home. But in that case, that's not our problem, because they had a cover on the outlet and we're covered because the outlet's covered. So it should be taken care of. If the outlet's not covered, then we're responsible for taping it. And if something happens, then it's on us.
So what else, Jacob? What else are we looking for on the property?
So this door, probably take precaution, hit it with some water before we hit it with chemical, because we don't know if this is sealed or not. Sometimes you can't really tell by just looking at it. So we'll spray some water on it while we're hitting it with chemical, just to be sure that we don't, lighten that up to the same color as the vinyl for the customer, and it stays that same dark color. We'll still hit it with chemical, but you can hit it with water beforehand. If you got water on it first, it's not going to stick and adhere to the door like it would if it was dry.
Also, good opportunity for you guys as you kind of walk the property when you first get here, so go ahead and take some good before and after pictures. As you guys can see, this is pretty dirty property. It's vinyl siding. Jacob mentioned earlier that it's going to be a pretty quick cleanup. However, it's an awesome time to get these before pictures because you can use them for your marketing. You can send them to the customer after. Right, Jacob?
That's right. So moving on, the panels on the home, we try to stay away from them as much as we can. I mean, we don't spray them directly, obviously. We'll spray around them and just check for anything that may be open. Check for holes on the top of these boxes. We have had a job in the past where they drilled a hole in the top of this panel and they forgot to put a bulkhead with a plug in it. So it was just an open hole in the box. Not sure how they didn't run into issues before we came and washed it due to rain and different things like that. Check stuff like that. Check all the cables. Just kind of do a quick look over. Make sure you don't have any wires that are open or anything like that. Something that doesn't look like it should be getting wet. Because if it looks like it shouldn't be getting wet, it's probably not supposed to get wet. We check all the windows, make sure there's no cracks or holes in the windows to where water's getting in. There's nobody home right now, so we're gonna try to be careful of that, especially at the front doors, because the gaskets at the bottom, whenever they get wore out, if the door is flush to the ground, then water will run under them and all in the home, and nobody's here to clean it up. So
another thing to keep in mind is any holes in the vinyl siding. As you guys can see here, we have some detachment from this piece to this piece. You obviously don't want to get water back behind that, but you also want to take a picture of things like this so that way you can notify the homeowner that this was the shape the property was in, before you serviced it, so that way you're not held liable in the event that they're like, you messed up our siding whenever you came and washed our house, because obviously that's not the case, right, Jacob?
that's right. So this is kind of one of the outlets I was talking about, like that's not completely covered. We would typically still be covered under this if something were to happen because the cover is on it. We wouldn't be involved in that. That would be on the homeowner due to them having a cover installed on it. But we're gonna go ahead and put some tape anyway, just because we don't want to burn anybody's house down.
That would not be a good idea.
No, then wouldn't make for a bad day.
Another thing to keep in mind is any paint that's removed from the house. So like this, obviously, this is why we don't apply a bunch of pressure to the property, because in which case we'll remove more of this paint. So just another thing that we're going to take a picture of, make a note on, so that way we're not held liable for missing paint on that trim.
So whenever, like Justin was saying, whenever it comes to checking the vinyl and stuff, like on that corner that he just showed, where the vinyl actually goes together, so like right here, normally you're good spraying, because you're not just going to hold the ball valve on that spot, but behind there is just the insulation and like stuff that's not supposed to get wet that could mold over time. So we like to walk around, do an inspection of all the vinyl siding. That way if this is pulled back, we know not to spray this way. We'll spray the opposite way of the overlaid part of it, to where the water is going away from it and it's not coming into it, just to keep any mold from happening in the future, any water getting in there and damaging anything, rotting anything out.
Obviously, another good thing to do before the start of the job is go ahead and remove any property that the customer might have in the way that could be damaged by bleach. As you guys can see, Buddy's already removed that. As well as every time before we come to a property, we always make sure that the homeowner knows that they need to have all of their belongings moved from the front and back patios before we arrive, so that way we can kind of mitigate some time on our end having to move everything. So this might be what, like a light was there, Jacob, or something?
Yeah, maybe a light
Or a doorbell or something?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Tesla plug.
But anytime there's exposed wires, we obviously want to cover them.
Yeah, obviously we'll put a piece of tape over that, just a small one, and then wherever the tape's at the end of the job, we'll come back whenever we pull the tape off. We'll just have a rag with us and just kind of wipe the dirt that was left under the tape. That way it all matches and it looks like we were actually able to clean all the way around it.
Right. So one of the big thing you guys need to be looking out for on these properties is like fans and things like that. So Jacob, what's the precaution that you guys take whenever you come across like a fan or something?
So normally people install outdoor fans, so you really won't have an issue. You can just ask the customer before you get to the job or once you make it to the job if those are outdoor fans. If they are, you don't want to spray directly on the fan. You can wipe the fan blades if you need to, or if the customer requests it, but we just kind of spray around them. It's okay if a little bit of water hits them. We've never had any issues with any type of fans or anything like that. Light fixtures, just make the customer aware to leave them off for a little bit until everything kind of dries. That way if any water did seep in there at the top of it, it's all dried up and they won't have any issues whenever they flip the switch and turn it on, in case there's any exposed wires or anything like that.
So is there anything else, Jacob, that we kind of want to take into consideration with our property inspection before we go ahead and, you know, start getting everything ready to go?
This one's pretty simple to do. Walk around. There's not really much to look at other than really the vinyl, windows, outlets, the typical things that we would look at on every single job. Stuff like this, like Justin was saying earlier, anything that's got missing paint or chipping paint, or if the back side of the house or wherever the south side of the house is has a lot of oxidation on it, you want to take a picture of that beforehand. That way you're able to show the customer if they say something about it, or if you want to show them ahead of time, you can put that in your pre-inspection form to send to the customer. That way it covers you, and once you finish the job, the customer isn't asking you why their siding is no longer brown or tan, now it's white. So you can say, this was previously here before we got started. It was in the pre-inspection form and you're covered.
Last thing to always be on the lookout for is the Ring doorbells, as well as any cameras around the property, because, you know, a lot of times people have those, and if you mess those up, people don't usually like it.
Yeah, so the ones with the cameras on the front of them, like not this one's just a regular doorbell obviously, but the ones that have the cameras on the front of them that you're able to talk to and do all that special stuff through, normally we'll put a piece of tape over the camera. That way no chemical is sitting on the camera part of it, but those are also weatherproof a lot of times. So that's another thing, just ask the customer, make sure that it is an all-weather doorbell. Cover the camera so you're not leaving bleach spots on it, and pull the tape off whenever you head out.
So Jacob, what are the best shoes for pressure washing?
So we like these Huck boots. We tried the extra toughs in the beginning. They don't last as long. These we've had for about a year now, and they're faded obviously, but they're still holding up good.
Believe it or not, these used to be gray.
Yeah, well, they used to be this color. Those are gray.
Okay, there you go.
But those I've had, those are buddies. I gave them to him. And we just keep extra stuff like boots and hoses, or not hoses, wands, the minigun, and then we have our battery in there for our electric start on the pressure washer. Yeah, so whenever you pull off your hoses, pull them off, don't cross over. So like we have the pressure washing hose all the way to the left side. Whenever we pull this hose off, keep it on the right side. You don't want to be pulling this to the left side of the home and then pulling your self-wash hose to the right side of the home, because at the end of the day, whenever you're finished up and you're ready to go, you're tired of running around the house, then you got to sit there and untangle hoses and everything. So throughout the job, we try to pay attention to where the hoses are, and I'll tell Buddy either go around me or I'll go around him just to keep from tangling them up and creating a big knot throughout the job that we got to fight at the end of the day. Once you got all your hoses stretched out, you got your water tank full, you got chemical on your truck, I'm gonna go ahead and set the valves for this. This is all vinyl, so we'll run probably about a 1.5, almost a 2.
All right, so we got everything laid out. Obviously, we got the SH set to 1.5%. If you guys need help with chemical mixes, be sure to check out 𝐃𝐨𝐦𝐢𝐧 calculator. But Jacob, what's next, man? We got to start everything up, or are we gonna rinse the house first?
So I'm gonna crank the pressure washer up. I'm gonna get Buddy to hit the front door like I was saying earlier. Get him to hit the front door with some water, and then we'll run around the entire home with chemical. We're not gonna spray the front door with chemical yet because it will dry on there by the time we make it around the home, and it will start seeping into the wood. So we'll wait till last to do that. If everything doesn't rinse off of the front door. The front door wasn't bad. There's not a whole lot of green on it, so we may be able to just rinse it instead of having to hit it with chemical, just to take extra precaution, not ruin anything, not bleach the door out for the customer. So while Buddy's getting the chemical coming through the soft wash hose, I'm gonna go ahead and wet the front door, and I'm gonna throw some water on these plants up front as well. It is only like a 1.5, 2%, so you really don't have to worry about the plants as much as you would if you were running like a roof wash and the chemical was coming off of the roof, beating down on the plants. But still gonna throw some water on them, just take some extra precautions, and that way whenever we come around with the chemical, we don't even have to worry about the plants, because the first thing that they're soaked up with water, and it is such a weak mix. A lot of times you can tell whenever a door like that is sealed, you can tell whether it's actually soaking the water up or if it's beading off. If it's beading off, then it's sealed. If it's soaking it up like that one is, the water isn't beading off, it's just sitting on the door, then that door is most likely not sealed. So we're gonna be real careful around that with the chemical, because you will leave bleach spots. Even if you don't spray it intentionally, bleach runs down, gets on the door, it'll leave streaks and different things like that if you're not hitting it with water. I will say spraying overhead, Buddy doesn't really care, but I don't like getting bleach all over me. So the easiest way to do it that we have found is all your edges where your support beams are, spray all those first while you're inside under the carport, and spray far enough to where you can see where you stopped on the roof, and then you're able to spray the rest of the roof if it's not too deep of a carport like this one, especially with the gas pump we're able to reach. You can spray the rest of it from outside the carport to where you're not getting bleach dripping all down all over you the whole time you're spraying. So we would work our way around, probably come out about 1.5 feet, 2 feet, to where we can see where we stopped right here. We're not missing any spots. Come all the way around the carport, walk out, and then spray the rest from outside of the carport to where we're not getting bleach dripping all over us. All right, so we just finished off rinsing the backside. Buddy came through with the chemical hose, hit the backside and the left side of the home. I told him wait on the front just so no chemical got on the door. We stress that because if the chemical does get on the door, it's gonna look like crap. It's gonna bleach the door out. But hit the backside of the home, let it dwell for about 5 minutes, if that long, depending on how hot you're running the bleach. If you're running it hot, which there's no reason to, but if you are running it hot, you want to rinse it off pretty quick because you will get that oxidation. We're running about a 1.5 or 2%. We let it dwell for about 5 minutes tops, and then we're able to come through and rinse everything down. There is peepholes in the vinyl that will never stop leaking dirt. The best way to get rid of that is whenever you have your ball valve or whatever you're using to rinse, just hit right under the peephole and just kind of swipe the dirt away. to where you're not putting water back in that peephole for it to keep draining out. So basically just push all the dirt away with a swipe under the peephole where it's coming from, and it'll get rid of it most of the time. Earlier I was talking about like the vinyl peeling back, which right there under that receptacle, they actually had a piece of vinyl that was loose. Whenever I got close to it with the ball valve, it actually started flapping. But I went with the vinyl and rinsed down the back side of the home, just so that places like under the outlet, if there is loose vinyl and you don't notice it until you do get close to it with the ball valve, by that time it's too late. You're gonna get water all up in there. So spray down the vinyl. We didn't get any water in there because I was spraying down the vinyl, so all it did was just hold it shut while I was spraying it, rinsed it, and then I was able to keep moving down the side of the house. Like I was saying earlier with the chemical, to keep from getting chemical all over you, there's no real way to keep water from dripping all over you. You have to get under the carport a little bit to be able to get everything down, especially if you don't have a mini gun or something like that that can shoot a stream and knock everything off. So you will get wet.
So Jacob, we swapped between the ball valve when we were rinsing the backside, and now, like you said, Buddy's using the mini gun. But can you kind of explain what the reason is behind that?
So ball valve, you're able to use a lot less direct pressure. So if there is damaged vinyl like under the outlet over there, you don't have to worry about water getting in there as much. You're able to control the ball valve a lot more, and it's not a direct stream straight on the home. The ball valve puts out, it can put out a stream, but it puts out more of a fan because we don't use a high pressure with the ball valve. And being that it's vinyl, there's no need to really use high pressure because you're letting the chemical do most of the work. You're just rinsing the chemical and all the dirt away after the chemical does its job. So whenever you're running around the home, spraying chemical on everything, you will find spots like this. Make sure you're watching whenever you're rinsing everything down. That spot like that is not going to come off with the ball valve without any high pressure. We're not going to use any high pressure, so all we'll do is just whenever we crank the soft wash pump back up, go ahead and touch those spots up. They got one right there. There's a few over here, but he stopped right there at the corner where the front patio is. So we'll just go ahead and hit this section again with chemical, make sure we get it all cleaned up.
Another good tip is to always be wearing glasses because you do not want to get SH in your eyes, right, Jacob?
That is correct. Also, polarized sunglasses. Or as hot spots whenever you're cleaning a roof, if you got sunglasses on, the polarization of the sunglasses, it highlights all the spots that are clean to where you're still able to see the darker spots that still need to be re-hit or treated with SH.
Guys, another important thing to be on the lookout for whenever you're doing these house washes is any potential upsells. As you guys can see, you know, we got these right here, these pavers. That's an upsell, cleaning these pavers. As you guys can see, they are dirty, as well as patios, right? This house doesn't have much of a driveway, so that's not necessarily an upsell, but there are a couple little concrete slabs that, you know, we didn't quote, and we can always shoot the homeowner a message and just say, hey, you know, to add these on, it's going to be XYZ. So just to give you guys a little bit of context, this property is actually run by a property management company. This is a rental property, and they are currently, you know, between renters, so they're getting the house clean so that way it's more appealing. So in this scenario, would it benefit us to do, you know, a little service like this for free? It always is beneficial. However, you know, the homeowner probably won't even know about it because it's a property management company that is getting us to take care of it. So, hey, look, we can leverage that relationship with the property management company to maybe get, you know, some more jobs from them. So we'll probably knock out this patio for free. Just want to let you guys know, always be on the lookout for little upsells like things like this.
So we're going to go ahead. One of us is going to have the ball valve to keep water on the door, and the other person is going to have the soft wash wand. We're going to be spraying SH all over the front porch, on the front porch, and move around the front side of the house. And then all we'll have left is the left side of the house. Normally these houses take us probably about 20 minutes to do, tops. It normally takes longer to get everything stretched out, get the tanks filled, all that, get set up, than it actually does to wash the house. Vinyl goes quick. Don't leave the chemical on there too long. Don't oxidize nothing. And let's get on the front porch.
And you guys might have saw a video probably about a year ago. There was like a wood beam. It was a couple wood beams on the front of a house, and we didn't have somebody watering it. The wood beam actually had like drip marks. You could see the drip marks from the bleach where it stained out the wood. And that job was like a 40-minute drive. Not only was the homeowner not happy after the job, but then we had to come back out, retreat the wood, restain it, and it was just a nightmare. So now, you know, take extra precaution, make sure you don't mess anything up.
So one thing you want to watch out for and take into consideration whenever you are spraying bleach, no matter what percentage it is it's in the air, it's blowing around, So you want to be aware of what your surroundings are, especially in like some neighborhoods that we do where the houses are like 3 feet apart. You're getting bleach overspray all over the house next door, all over the windows, everything like that. So to mitigate that, you can either not hold down the trigger fully to where it's putting out full pressure, to where to mitigate the overspray, and also which way the wind's blowing. If the wind's blowing towards something that doesn't need bleach on it or isn't supposed to get bleach on it, then wait till the wind stops or starts blowing a different way to where it's not getting all over everything that can't have bleach on it or that it's gonna ruin. Another thing that you wanna watch for after you spray chemical is pay attention to what side of the house the sun's beaming down on. I thought the sun was further to the left, so I thought it was beaming down on this side of the house, but it'll dry out the chemical, and it also makes the chemical react a lot stronger than it actually may be in our past experiences. So to prevent oxidation and different things like that, you don't want to let the sun beat down on it after you spray it with chemical for too long. You want to go ahead and rinse it off. That way it doesn't sit and oxidize. You also want to watch for under the vinyl. Whenever you are doing vinyl, these lips, they'll get algae underneath them. And it may look clean from looking directly at it, but whenever you're walking down the side of the house, it'll still look dirty, being that these lips aren't cleaned up. So whenever you get lower, obviously get down, spray up under the lip of the vinyl, and it doesn't take much, rinse it off just like the rest of the vinyl, but that is something to watch out for because it still will look dirty whenever you're walking up on this side of the house if you miss it. Just like the other side of the home by the carport, we had a few spots over here that Buddy had to come back and touch up. That spot, he probably didn't hit just due to all the electrical stuff, just to mitigate anything happening. You don't know if there's any loose wires up there that are open. Whenever you're spraying around that kind of stuff, you want to spray. So if I was going to spray the right side of this box, you want to open the ball valve up, stand on the left side of the box, and spray away from it. That way no water is getting into the cracks on the box. So you just spray in the front of the box. It obviously gets wet whenever it rains, but you don't want to spray directly on the side of it because you don't know if there's a hole back there that water could get into or anything like that. So as long as you're hitting just the front side of the box, you should be all right. You can say if you don't feel comfortable spraying the box like that on the side of it to get it off, you can always just come back and wipe it with a rag. There's times that we don't feel comfortable doing it, so we'll come back after the job or after we complete it, come back with a rag, wipe everything down real good that maybe didn't get hit with chemical or the ball valve. But we did our pre-inspection, so we know everything's good. There's no holes in any boxes or anything like that. So this one, we were able to rinse off with the ball valve and we don't have to come back with a rag. If you don't have one of these mini guns, real good investment. We use that almost every job. All it is a pressure washing wand handle with a J-rod in it. We got a stream tip and a fan tip. So for those of you that downstream, fan tip, put it on there.
Sometimes on these houses you guys might encounter little dauber's nests or like just little things that bugs leave. I think Buddy had one that he was kind of struggling with right there. A good thing to kind of have on hand is a brush that you can kind of brush some of the siding with, right, Jacob?
Right. Yeah, and a lot of times we'll have to hit the side, like vinyl siding with a brush, but stucco, at least where we're from, clay is real thick and it sticks and it'll stain the stucco if it sits there too long. So you can sit there and brush it, you can sit there and spray it, you can hit it 5 times with bleach, it's not gonna come off. You can knock the physical nest off, but you'll never get that stain out unless you just paint back over it. So that's one thing that we do mention to the homeowner before we get started. If they have stucco and it's covered in dirt daubers, is they'll most likely not come out all the way. You'll still see the circle where they were actually sitting at. These did get hit with chemical while we were washing the house because we were cleaning under the patio anyway. So it's just some top dirt that's on it. Chemical took all the heavy stuff off. So we're able to just use the pump. It puts out enough pressure to knock off all the top dirt that got eaten away by the chemical that was sprayed on it. So just a little something extra while you're rinsing your pump. Another thing, whenever you are rinsing your pump, if you can, if there is a concrete driveway and it is dirty, while you're rinsing your pump, instead of wasting that chemical just in one spot, you know, we always like to put ours on a fan tip, and while we're rinsing the pump, hit the driveway with it. It'll lighten the driveway up. It's just a little something extra you can do for the customer before you head out.
Because you're going to be putting that chemical on the ground anyway, you might as well.
Right, you got to rinse it out of your hose anyway, so you might as well just make yourself look a little bit better whenever you're at the job before you leave. Customer will be happy with it. We've had multiple compliments in the past, and it doesn't go unnoticed.
So Jacob, house is washed. We've gone ahead and emptied out our soft wash hose. What else is left on the job for us to do?
So do a walk around and make sure everything looks good on the house. Take your after pictures for your post inspection form. Send that to the customer. While you're doing your walk around, make sure you got all your tools, equipment, hoses, wands, guns, anything that you took out while you were doing the job. Make sure you got all that, because we've spent so much money on more hoses, more tips, more wands, different things like that that have been left on jobs. And it's as simple as just doing a quick walk around, making sure you pick all everything up that you took out.
Excellent. So we're going to put these mats back where they go. We're going to remove the tape and pack everything up and bounce, right, Jacob?
That's right.
All right, so if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up on it. Jacob, every guest that comes on the channel, you're not really a guest, you're always on the channel, but what's the word of the day, bro?
Oh man, we're gonna make money.
Make money. If you made this far in the video, comment down below.
How about
make money?
Oh, shit.
And I'll hashtag your real one. My name is Justin, forever self-employed. Until next time, I'll start and get that money, baby. Peace.